"Don't turn around, Liam," Princess' trembling whisper floated through the shadows of the marble corridor. "If you do, everything changes." Her voice was soft, barely a breath, yet it sliced through the silence like a drawn arrow. Liam stopped mid-stride. The chilled air around them pulsed with something unseen, something urgent. For a heartbeat, neither moved. Only the distant hum of the palace crystals vibrated through the walls, rising and falling like the breath of a giant asleep beneath their feet. Spoke again, quieter, almost pleading. "Before you leave, there is something you must know." The night sky outside the palace glimmered with silver moons and violet nebulae, but inside, the air thickened with dread. Liam didn't know why the princess had summoned him alone, past midnight, into the forbidden wing of the Star Palace. He only knew one thing. Nothing about this felt like a simple farewell. The corridor lights flickered, as though reacting to an invisible presence gliding among them. Somewhere deeper in the palace, a low metallic groan echoed, like a door that wasn't supposed to open had. Liam swallowed. "What's happening?" She didn't answer. Her delicate hands tightened around the edges of her cloak, knuckles whitening. She took one hesitant step closer, not enough to breach the forbidden distance, yet close enough for Liam to feel the tremor in her breath. There was fear in her eyes, but also something else, resolve. "Tonight," she whispered, "a choice will be made for you, one that was supposed to be mine." The words struck him like cold water. "What choice?" Her gaze darted toward the far end of the corridor, where shadows pooled unnaturally thick. Liam could swear he heard a faint tapping coming from within them, rhythmic, deliberate, as if something, or someone, counted down invisible seconds. "We need to leave," he said. "No," she said quickly. "Not yet, Liam, listen." A sudden boom quaked beneath their feet. Dust trembled from the ceiling beams. The palace alarms remained silent, which was far more terrifying than if they had roared. The Whispering Gate. Liam felt it before he understood it, a deep vibration crawling through the floor, humming against his bones. He'd heard rumors of it, an ancient artifact sealed beneath the throne hall, rumored to sing prophecies to any who dared approach it. But no one was allowed near it. "No one," Liam said sharply. "Tell me what's happening right now." Her lips parted, but another tremor shook the corridor, followed by a distant metallic shriek. This time, Liam heard something inside that shriek. Voices. Layered, distorted, whispering his name. "Why would it call for me?" he asked under his breath. Stepped even closer, dangerously close now. Her voice wavered, yet her determination stood firm. "Because," she said, "you were never meant to be just a visitor in this kingdom. You were brought here for a reason, one no one told you." Liam felt the floor murmur again, stronger, faster, as if the gate sensed their conversation. "Time is running out," she said. "I called you here because before you make your decision, you deserve to know the truth." "What truth?" Her eyes softened, a glimmer of sorrow shimmered in them. She leaned in. Then, just before her lips brushed his ear, she whispered the words that made his heart slam against his ribs. "Liam, the gate thinks you are the lost heir." The corridor lights exploded into white. And everything changed. Liam shouted as the corridor vanished in a burst of blinding white. "Where are you?" His voice fractured as reality twisted around him. The marble floor dissolved into drifting shards of light. The palace walls stretched into endless pillars of silver haze. The air hummed like vibrating glass, sharp, shimmering, unstable. Then, with a sound like a breath pulled backward through time, the world snapped into place. Liam staggered. He stood in a vast chamber he had never seen before, circular, enormous, carved from stone that shimmered like starlit water. The ceiling arched high, like the inside of a massive crystal dome, and at the center of the room stood a monolith of dark metal, pulsing with slow, luminous breaths. The Whispering Gate. Except it was awake. A ripple of cold swept over Liam as faint voices curled through the chamber, echoing off distant walls. 1,000 whispers overlapping in a tapestry of breathless, fractured tones. His name drifted among them. Soft. Insistent. Liam. He spun. But she wasn't there. Instead, a tall figure stepped from behind the monolith, the princess's guardian. His normally calm eyes were electrified with panic, his armor unfastened as though he'd raced here. "Thank the stars you're alive," said, grabbing Liam's shoulder. "Where is the princess?" "She was right behind me," Liam said. "The light something pulled us apart." His jaw tightened. The gate chooses where to draw each person, and it rarely chooses kindly. The monolith pulsed again, once, twice, its glow deepening to a dangerous shade of violet. The whispers grew louder, spiraling into the air like phantom wind. "Why did say I'm the lost heir?" Liam demanded. "That's impossible. I come from the frontier. My parents ran a small outpost. I'm no heir to anything." Hesitated. Liam said firmly, "Tell me." The guardian's voice grew low. "The royal lineage is bound to the gate. It recognizes heirs by energy, by resonance, not by blood alone." "That doesn't make sense." "It doesn't have to," replied. "But the gate awakened the moment you stepped inside the palace. It hasn't responded like this in generations." Liam swallowed hard as another tremor rolled across the chamber. The monolith's light flickered, and a chilling gust spiraled around them, an unnatural wind carrying traces of his voice. "Help me." Liam froze. "Did you hear that?" Nodded grimly. "She's somewhere inside the gate's influence. This room, it touches many layers at once. The gate is pulling her deeper. We have to get her out." Placed a hand on Liam's arm. "We will," but Liam listened carefully. The whispers swelled again, like a tide pressing against the shore. "The gate opens fully in less than an hour," said. "When it does, it will choose a new heir to bind with. If you are who it believes you are, it will not let you leave until you accept it." Liam's stomach twisted. "And if I refuse?" "Then the gate will seal itself for a generation," said quietly. "We'll be trapped inside it, forever." The chamber lights dimmed, plunging them into velvet shadows. The monolith's glow throbbed, sending ripples of energy across the floor. The whispers sharpened, some pleading, some demanding, some simply repeating Liam's name in a cold, echoing rhythm. "Why would think I'm the heir?" Liam whispered. His expression softened with a sorrow Liam didn't understand. "Because she saw the gate's reaction to you, and because there is one more thing, something the king hid from you, something he hid from everyone." Before Liam could speak, the monolith flared again, this time erupting into a pillar of spiraling light. Inside the glowing swirl, Liam glimpsed a figure reaching out. Her voice broke through the roar of energy, desperate, breathless, filled with fear and something deeper. "Liam, don't let it choose for you." The chamber shuddered violently. Drew his blade, bracing against the winds. "Liam, decide, go after her or stay and resist the gate, but choose now." The spiral widened, pulling at Liam's clothes, dragging him toward the light. Every whisper sharpened into a single cry. "Air!" His pulse thundered. His hand reached toward him, trembling, fatting. And Liam leapt. The light swallowed him whole. It wasn't brightness, it was weight, a living force pressing against his ribs, pushing into his lungs as though trying to replace the air itself. Liam squeezed his eyes shut as the world stretched into a rushing column of color, violet, silver, white, then snapped together again with a sound like shattering stars. He landed hard. Cold stone met his palms. A sharp ache shot through his knees. For a moment he simply breathed, steadying the pounding in his chest. Then he heard it. A soft, muffled sob. He forced himself to stand. He was in a narrow chamber carved from the same star-glass stone as the gate's hall, but older, rougher. Light from the ceiling dripped downward in thin streams like falling threads. They touched the walls, glowing, then faded into mist that curled like smoke. He called again, louder this time. A shadow moved behind one of the shimmering curtains of light. Then she stepped into view. Her cloak was torn, wisps of her hair clung to her cheeks, but her eyes, bright, fierce, met Liam with a jolt of relief so strong it almost forced him to his knees. "Liam," she breathed, "you made it." He rushed to her, catching her trembling hands. "Are you hurt?" "No, just shaken." She looked past him to the shimmering chamber walls. "I didn't think the gate would bring you this deep." "It tried to trap you," Liam said. "Thinks we have less than an hour before it fully awakens." Her eyes widened. "Then we need to move. There's something you have to see, something I couldn't tell you out there." Before she could say more, the chamber pulsed with a low hum. Threads of light on the walls brightened, casting long shadows. The whispers intensified, surrounding them, circling them, speaking words Liam couldn't quite understand. "What is this place?" "The heart of the gate," she said. "A place where truth is preserved, even when people try to bury it." She tugged his hand gently, leading him deeper. Liam followed, though every instinct clenched tight. The air grew colder, and the whispers shifted, some sounding like thunder, others like children whispering secrets behind closed doors. A narrow passage opened into a circular chamber. Liam froze. Floating above a stone pedestal was a crystal sphere, no larger than a lantern, filled with swirling silver mist. Symbols glowed on its surface, forming patterns that pulsed with eerie life. "What is that?" he whispered. "The memory orb," said. "It holds the full lineage of the constellation heirs." Liam felt his heartbeat thicken. "Why bring me here?" "Because the gate doesn't lie," she said. "It calls only to those who share its bloodline." "That can't be me," Liam insisted. "My parents barely had the means to run a trading outpost. I grew up fixing generators. Nothing about me is royal." Stepped closer. Her voice dropped, gentle but unwavering. "Liam, did your parents ever tell you where they found you?" His breath caught. "They said I was left at a frontier station, just a baby, no records." She nodded. That station was one of the gateways into constellation space. The king ordered all abandoned children retrieved and hidden. Liam stared at her. "You think I was one of them?" "I don't think," she said softly. "I know." Before he could respond, the orb flared. A beam of pale light shot toward Liam, wrapping his hand in a warm, tingling glow. Images spiraled through his mind, faces he didn't recognize, voices that felt distant yet achingly familiar. A crown. A child's cry. A woman whispering, "Keep him safe. They must never find him," before fading into smoke. Liam stumbled back, breath shaking. "I saw." "I know," her hand steadied him. "It's showing you what it showed me." The orb pulsed again, and this time a single symbol burned bright on its surface. A symbol identical to the one faintly etched on the monolith outside. Liam swallowed hard. "That symbol, it called to me." "It belongs to the lost branch of the royal line," said. "A line the king erased from history." The chamber trembled suddenly. The whispers sharpened into a single, urgent chorus. "Heir, heir," pulled him closer. "Liam, listen. If the gate chooses you, it won't let either of us leave until the ceremony completes." "And if I refuse?" Her expression tightened. "Then the gate will collapse, the entire palace with it." Another tremor rippled across the chamber. Squeezed his hands, eyes shining with fear and hope all at once. "Liam," she whispered, "you don't have much time, but before you choose, you deserve to know the truth about me too." He stared at her, heart hammering. "What truth?" Stepped closer, so close their foreheads almost touched. "The gate didn't only call you," she breathed. "It called me because my fate is tied to yours." The whispers roared, and the orb burst into blinding light. The blast of light threw Liam backward. He hit the ground with a sharp gasp as the chamber erupted in a storm of swirling white mist and ringing echoes. The memory orb shattered in midair, its fragments dissolving before they reached the floor. The whispers that had filled the chamber didn't fade. They intensified, rising into a desperate, electric chorus that pressed against Liam's ears like rushing wind. Liam's voice cut through the chaos. Through the haze, he saw her, silhouetted in the glowing mist, hair whipping in the current of energy, cloak streaming behind her like a torn comet tail. She pressed her palms against the air as though fighting an invisible force. He scrambled toward her, only to be shoved back by a sudden wave of pressure, thick and heavy as iron. The whispers condensed into something new, a single heartbeat-deep thrum that echoed through the entire chamber. The stone beneath their feet vibrated in response. Something ancient. Something waking. His voice trembled. It's the gate's core, it's reacting to the orb's release. Reacting how? Liam shouted. By showing us what it wants. The mist began to spiral upward, forming a wide ring of shimmering light. The air cracked with energy as images flickered across the ring like reflections on water, crowds cheering, stars aligning in a celestial crown, two figures standing side by side. Liam and... But the images warped. The cheering became screaming. The stars collapsed inward. The two figures were torn apart by a violent blast of light. Liam's breath froze. What is it showing us? Possibility, whispered. What could be, or what will be if we choose wrong? The ring snapped into a focused beam that shot to the far end of the chamber, carving open a doorway of blue flame. Beyond it lay a different space, vast, dark, humming with quiet power. His hand clutched Liam's arm. That's the trial path. Trial of what? Worthiness, she breathed. Every heir must walk it. The gate is demanding your decision now. Liam stared at the shifting doorway, feeling its pull not on his body, but on his very heartbeat. He said quietly, "You said you had something to tell me, about your fate." She hesitated, longer than before. The mist's glow painted her expression with soft, trembling light. "My destiny was never to be queen," she said finally. "Not truly. But you're the king's daughter." "Yes and no." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I am his child by adoption. He raised me to be heir because he believed the true lineage had been destroyed." Liam blinked. "You aren't royalty by blood." "No, but he trusted me to protect the kingdom's future, even if it meant stepping aside when the true heir returned." Her gaze softened. "Liam, that heir is you." He shook his head. "I don't want a throne." "Neither did I," she whispered, "but here we are." The chamber trembled again. Dust drifted from the ceiling. The doorway widened, pulling harder now, its energy brushing against Liam's skin like cold fingers urging him forward. Stepped in front of him suddenly. "Liam," she said, voice unsteady, "listen to me. If you take the trial I have to follow, the gate binds the closest heart to the heir's path." He stared at her, closest heart. Her cheeks flushed. "The gate sees bonds before we admit them. If you walk through that door, I walk with you, no matter what waits inside." His chest tightened. "I can't drag you into danger." "You didn't," she interrupted. "I choose this, I choose you." The chamber's pulse grew violent, warning them time was running out. Grabbed his hand and held it tightly, her eyes full of fragile fire. "Liam, if you refuse the trial, the gate collapses, and everything above us collapses with it. The guards, the entire palace." "All because of me," Liam whispered. "No," she said fiercely. "Because of destiny, and destiny doesn't choose gently." The pressure in the air intensified, pushing, pulling, demanding. "Liam," she breathed, "you must decide." The doorway roared like a storm. He felt her shaking beside him, not with fear but with hope, raw and trembling. He tightened his grip on her hand. And together they stepped toward the trial. The trial path did not feel like stepping through a doorway. It felt like falling through a decision. The blue flame vanished the instant Liam and crossed its threshold. Darkness swallowed them, heavy, silent, absolute. Liam's fingers tightened around hers and she squeezed back, grounding him in the void. Then one soft sound bloomed in the blackness. A heartbeat. Not his. Not hers. The gate. The darkness tore open like fabric splitting, revealing a landscape that stole Liam's breath. They stood on a vast plain of shimmering black glass, stretching endlessly beneath a swirling sky of silver clouds. Stars drifted close, far too close, as though held by invisible strings. A gentle wind brushed past, carrying faint whispers that curled around their legs like distant memories. "What is this place?" Liam murmured. His voice was hushed. "Every heir sees something different. The gate shapes the trial to the truth buried inside the heart." Liam swallowed. Then this is mine. Before she could answer, the glassy ground beneath them rippled like disturbed water. Shapes rose from the surface, two figures forming from smoke and starlight. Liam stumbled back. They were his parents, not the ones who raised him, the ones from his vision. A woman with soft eyes and a tired smile. A man with a proud posture but sorrow etched deep into his features. Their images flickered like candlelight, wavering with every breath Liam drew. He whispered, voice trembling, "They're real, they're really." "I know," she whispered. "The gate is showing you what you lost and what waits to be reclaimed." Before he could step closer, the ground shuddered. Two more figures rose, identical to the first. Then two more. Then five. Then a dozen. A crowd of illusions, parents, guardians, friends he never knew, spawning endlessly around him until the plain was filled with silent ghosts staring straight at him. "What is happening?" Liam cried. Grabbed his arm. "It's not real, Liam, don't listen." But the illusion spoke. A single voice. Unified. Echoing into his bones. "Air." He flinched at the force of the word. Another ripple. The illusions melted into a new shape, a vast throne made of the same black glass, rising higher than any structure Liam had ever seen. Its surface gleamed like a blade. At its base lay a crown, small and delicate, glowing with soft silver threads. The whispers softened into something cold and compelling. "Claim your place, or witness your world fall." Liam stared at the throne, heat tightening in his throat. "I don't want this." The gate answered with a low, rumbling whisper. "Want is irrelevant. Need is absolute." The clouds above them churned. The ground vibrated again, violently this time. Cracks spidered outward from beneath their feet, glowing with faint golden light. Stepped between Liam and the throne, her voice firm though her hands trembled. "Gate," she said, "you are forcing a choice he hasn't understood yet. That is not a trial, it's a trap." The air rippled. A silhouette formed behind the throne, rising like a shadow taking shape. It had no face, only depthless blackness, but it radiated ancient power. The voice that came from it was softer than before. "The air must lead. But he must not lead alone." Froze, what does that mean? The shadow extended one long, wraith-like arm toward her. Liam's stomach dropped as the whispers shifted. Deeper, louder. "Two hearts. One fate. One must guide. One must guard." Step back, breath catching. "It wants." He finished for her. "It wants us both." A sudden blast of wind roared across the plain, circling them like a storm made of voices. The throne brightened with dazzling silver light. The crown lifted into the air, spinning slowly, drifting toward Liam. Reached for him, Liam chose carefully. The gate's shadow extended its other arm toward her now. A second crown, dark, slender, star-forged, rose from the ground and hovered by her shoulder. The implication hit them both at once. Co-heirs whispered, bound by destiny. The trial path trembled with growing urgency. The crowns glowed brighter, demanding their hands. "Liam," she said softly, her voice shaking with fear and something far deeper, "whatever you choose, I choose with you." He looked into her eyes, stormed with courage, fear, and unspoken devotion. And Liam reached out. But before his fingers touched the crown, the ground cracked open beneath them with a deafening roar. The trial had one more truth to reveal. The glass plane split apart beneath them. Liam barely had time to shout before he and dropped into a cascade of light. Wind screamed past his ears, cold, electric, carrying shards of echoing voices. He grasped wrist, refusing to let go as the world twisted into a spiraling tunnel of fractured stars. Then, impact. They landed on solid stone. Liam groaned, trying to steady his breath. The air smelled different here, older, colder, tinged with the metallic bite of ancient energy. He blinked, lifting his head. This chamber was nothing like the others. It was a cathedral of obsidian pillars rising into endless darkness, each engraved with symbols that shimmered like frost. At the center stood a fractured mirror taller than any monument, its surface rippling like disturbed water. Pushed herself to her knees, wincing. This is the final veil. The what? Liam whispered. The deepest layer of the trial. It shows the truth we fear most. Before Liam could respond, the mirror flared. Its surface stretched, widened, and suddenly, like a curtain pulled back, revealed a vision. Not illusions. Not memories. Possibility. A throne room wrapped in flames. A palace collapsing into ruin. A sky torn open by a beam of light. A kingdom kneeling before a figure dressed in fractured crowns. Liam. But his eyes. They were cold. Empty. A hollow echo of the man he was. His breath hitched. That's you. No, Liam said, shaking his head. That's what the gate wants me to believe. The mirror shifted. A new vision. Standing alone on a battlefield of shattered stars, holding a blade forged from broken constellations. Her cloak was in tatters. Her eyes were hard with loss. She faced a towering shadow, the same faceless figure from before, its hand resting on a ruined crown. Liam whispered, devastated, "No, that's not who you are." But the gate wasn't finished. The mirror rippled again. This time the vision showed both of them, together, standing before a cheering kingdom under a sky of glowing nebulae, their hands clasped. Peace radiated from the scene. The palace stood strong behind them, the stars aligned above. The future glimmered like a promise. "Why show us all of this?" Liam murmured. "To make us choose," whispered, "not just power but who we become." The stone beneath their feet quivered. Warm light rose from cracks in the floor, spiraling upward like golden smoke. Liam stepped back as the mirror's surface split down the middle. Two paths emerged. On the left, a corridor of blinding white, steady, unwavering, leading toward the throne he had already glimpsed. Strength, command, certainty. On the right, a narrow path of shifting starlight, unpredictable, trembling like a heartbeat. Partnership, risk, shared fate. His voice softened. "The gate is asking, will you face destiny alone or with someone beside you?" Liam turned to her. She looked steady, but he saw the fear hiding under her calm, fear not of the trial, but of losing him to it. He said quietly, "What if I choose wrong? Then we face the consequences together." She took his hand, threading her fingers through his. "Liam, from the moment the gate called you, you haven't taken a single step alone. Don't start now." The light pulsed faster. The chamber trembled. Time was thinning, slipping like sand between their hands. Liam stared at the two paths. One promised control. The other promised connection. And deep inside, beneath fear, beneath doubt, he knew the truth. He turned toward, heart pounding. "My fate was never meant to be mine alone," he whispered. Her eyes softened, warm, hopeful, shining in the rising light. "Then choose us." The chamber roared. Energy surged around them, pulling, demanding, judging. The two paths glowed brighter, forcing the decision upon him. With a steady breath, Liam tightened his grip on her hand. He said, voice unwavering, "Whatever lies beyond that path, good or terrible, I want to face it with you." And together, they stepped onto the shimmering trail of starlight. The final veil exploded in radiant white. And the gate made its choice. The world reformed slowly, like dawn spreading through a dream. Liam opened his eyes to find himself standing on a high platform of polished crystal. The vast chamber around them was gone. The darkness, the whispers, the shifting mirrors all vanished. Instead, warm golden light poured from above, filtering through a dome of living stardust. Soft wind hummed through the air, carrying faint tones like distant singing. Stood beside him, still holding his hand. She looked around in awe. "Where are we?" Liam exhaled shakily. "I think we're inside the heart of the gate." The platform beneath them began to glow, symbols blooming across its surface like flowers igniting. The light climbed up their legs, surrounding them in gentle spirals. This time there was no fear, only calm, steady warmth. Then a voice, clear, resonant, no longer whispering, spoke from everywhere and nowhere. You have chosen unity. Therefore the gate chooses you both. His fingers tightened around Liam's, her breath hitched with wonder. The stardust dome parted, revealing a vast constellation swirling in slow circles. The stars connected into a single, magnificent sigil, two crowns intertwined, orbiting a single heart. The sight filled Liam with a strange, peaceful certainty. He murmured, "It's the symbol we saw in the trial, but complete." She nodded, "It means the gate accepts our bond." As the constellation glowed brighter, two beams of soft light descended, one resting on Liam's shoulders, the other surrounding in a gentle halo. The beams lifted them slightly off the platform, weightless, suspended between heaven and earth. Liam felt something inside him, something ancient unlock. It wasn't power, it wasn't authority, it was understanding, a sense of belonging so deep it made his chest tremble. The voice spoke again. The kingdom was never meant to be ruled by one. Strength and wisdom must walk together. Two hearts, one reign. His eyes shone, bright with relief, joy, and something even deeper. This was the truth all along. The kingdom's future needed more than a single heir. "And it chose us," Liam whispered. A soft laugh escaped her lips, trembling with emotion. "It chose together." Suddenly, a tremor of light surged through the dome. Massive doors of pure energy formed around them, slowly opening outward. Beyond them, Liam glimpsed the real world, the hall of the Whispering Gate, intact and shimmering. Stood at the entrance, sword drawn, shouting their names. The moment he saw them emerging from the glow, he froze, eyes widening with disbelief and utter relief. "Liam," he ran forward but stopped at the shimmering threshold as if afraid to break the spell. "You're alive, both of you. I feared the gate had swallowed you whole." "It almost did," said with a small smile, "but we chose our way through." Liam stepped forward and the golden light faded from his skin. The ground steadied beneath his feet. For the first time since arriving in this kingdom, he felt grounded, not lost, not uncertain. Sheathed his blade, a rare smile breaking through his stern calm. "The gate's radiance, it's unlike anything recorded. What did it show you?" Liam exchanged a look with deep knowing. "Truth," he said simply, "and choice." Nodded, "And a future the kingdom has waited for." His brow furrowed, "Then the trial." "We passed," said softly, "together." Before could respond, the palace bells rang, low, echoing, filled with urgency. A messenger sprinted down the corridor, breathless. "My princess, envoy, there's unrest outside the palace. The people saw the gate ignite. They fear something terrible has happened." Turned to Liam. "We must calm them, show them what truly happened." He nodded, "Let's go." They walked side by side toward the exit, and the last remnants of the gate's golden glow curled gently around their steps, like a blessing. Outside, crowds filled the plaza. Fear rippled through them, but the instant they saw and Liam emerge together, radiant and unharmed, the fear shifted, softened, bloomed into hope. Whispers spread through the gathered people. Two heirs, chosen by the gate. Together, a new age. Liam glanced at, heart full, steady. "Are you ready?" he murmured. She held his gaze, warm, confident, infinite. "With you always." And together, hand in hand, they stepped forward into their kingdom's future. Two hearts, one destiny.